This is the Marvel Legends Avengers Infinite Series King Odin and King Thor Build-A-Figure series of figures. The figures are part of the first wave of Marvel Legends figures for 2015, and they are featuring Thor, the Uncanny Avengers, or Marvel Now Thor. You got Sentry, which was a figure that was supposed to have been released as a variant of Hyperion, but you know, something happened. But I'm just glad they got him out. We got the variant for this wave is Marvel's Machine Man. Both are labeled as Avenging Allies in packaging. We've got the Maidens of Might featuring the Captain Marvel, the latest Marvel Now Captain Marvel, and the classic Scarlet Witch. Then we have the classic Hawkeye finally being released, supposedly should have been released as a variant of the modern Hawkeye. And we got the Daniel Rand white Iron Fist, white and gold costumed Iron Fist, which is supposed to have been a variant also of another figure. I forgot its name, a Protector, I think. I'm not sure, but anyway, this was a delayed figure, as well as Sentry, as well as the classic Hawkeye. But I'm just really glad Hasbro decided to release the figures eventually, and hopefully the other figures are not far behind. Anyway, this whole set, I picked up the figures as a set. I picked it up at a local hobby shop here in Manila. It's called Kramer Toy Warden. You got an awesome shop. You got the best Star Wars figures, Marvel figures that you can't find on retail. You can find in their store at very reasonable prices. If you're a Marvel fan, Marvel collector, Star Wars collector, here in Manila, you probably know their store, Kramer Toy Warden. It's located at Green Hills Shopping Center, Shopsville Plus. Yeah, you all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's an amazing set. Let me just give you a quick look at the packaging. This is the way the packaging is. It's exactly the same as the previous Marvel Legends wave from 2014, but the big difference is, if you noticed, I'm going to show you the pieces that came with it later. I don't know if you can see it. If you've seen my haul video, then you'll probably notice it, that the base has been enlarged. It's almost the same packaging, that curved front, tapering down. But I think a lot of retailers were complaining that these things were wobbly on the shelf. If you didn't hang them, they were on the shelf and they were wobbly. You could not stand them up because they would fall. Very thin and thick in front. So I think they widened the base, which is nice. So this thing is more stable. I actually appreciate that more, but I'm still not a big fan of this particular packaging. I like the comic book packaging really a lot better than this one. So here's Thor. You have Iron Fist. Basically just a Photoshop images. What else? Scarlet Witch, I've done that. The Avenging Allies and Hawkeye. So that's that. Okay, on to the figures themselves. They're very, very nice. We'll talk about the Odin, and we'll build King Odin and King Thor together. But let's talk about the figures. They're great sculpts. I was actually very pleased with them. I was only looking forward to getting seriously just the Maidens of Might, Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch. Hawkeye was great. I didn't expect that I would be very pleased with it. It's a classic Hawkeye. I like the modern Hawkeye better, but this one was a great sculpt. The Danny Rand figure, I mean, Iron Fist, this is probably the weakest figure in the entire wave, and a lot of collectors are probably going to skip that one, as well as Machine Man, if you're not really going to build a figure. But they actually impressed me quite a bit. I'm very pleased with the way Hasbro executed the Iron Fist as well as the Machine Man. Then we got Sentry, which I think I really like the Hyperion mold, but looking at it now and fidgeting and just posing, playing around with this figure, I think this is the far superior figure between the two. The Hyperion figure was great, but the Sentry I think is a lot better. And then we have Thor, which is not what he looks like right now. This was before he lost his left arm and before he lost the hammer. This is you see him mostly on Uncanny Avengers. I thought this was a great costume. It got a bit of a modern twist to it. It's not as kooky as the classics Thor or the later version of Thor. I loved him in this suit. Then Hasbro go ahead and change him, but I'm sure we'll get to see more of him when they reboot, though. I think reboot. Anyway, let's talk about the figures. One at a time. We'll do the pairs together later. Let's talk about Thor since he's already standing up. Okay, focus. So this is the Uncanny Avengers Marvel Now Thor. Quite possibly out of the entire lot, this was the most I was disappointed with, but just a little bit, by a little bit. The sculpt is great, as you can see. It's an amazing, amazing sculpt. I'm sure they recycled some bits and pieces of the previously released Thor. Comes with his Mjolnir hammer as an accessory. Comes with a non-removable cape that's just sculpted amazingly well. Look at that. I was just hoping it was a little bit longer, but they made it just right. I was hoping more for a Batman cape than a Superman cape, but anyway. Great head sculpt. Fantastic looking. Come on, Hawkeye. He's bugging me right now. Okay, fantastic head sculpt. As you can see, just amazing. Well done. The paint apps on this guy is just well made. There are some, you'll probably see some figures with the black bleeding with silver, but not that much. Again, you want to check the buckles on his costume if they're painted squarely on the buckle itself, but they're basically fine. The flesh on the black has been painted very well. Overall, I am very pleased with this figure. I was a little bit disappointed, though, however, with a few things. The cape being one, which is a little bit longer. And basically, it's the whole sculpt in his lower torso. I think his hips are a little bit way too wide, just by a few millimeters. Because when you try and pose him, maybe it's the illusion created by his loincloth or waist cape, but I actually thought that his legs was a little bit too far apart than that I'm comfortable with. But you know, it's okay. It's a little bit difficult to pose as well because he's got just the basic ankle joints and no rocker joints. Yeah, that's fine. Also, as you can see, just like the Build-A-Figure arms, he doesn't have double jointed elbows. He has a swivel in the bicep and a swivel on the elbow, which this is it's additional articulation that I'm not supposed to be complaining about, but because of this kind of articulation, you can actually rotate and put the triceps on top. And you know, Marvel has already come a long way in their basic male figure molded. You know, it would have been nice if it was double jointed instead of just single jointed, but that's fine. Again, overall, I am very pleased with this figure. It's going to get because of that. I know a lot of collectors really love this, but it's still going to get a very high 9 out of 10 for me. Apart from Mjolnir, he also comes with the Odin sword, or the oversword of Asgard. I thought this was a great touch. You can hold it in either hand. I'm just not going to do it right now because it's not as soft PVC plastic as I thought it would be. It's a little bit sharp and pointy, so you got kids, you be careful with this thing. It's a little bit sharp. I'm actually surprised that Hasbro went a little bit more bold on the safety issue with this one, but it's a little bit pointy, and it's soft enough, but it's not very soft, rubbery PVC. So that's that. Thor comes with the right leg of the Build-A-Figure, which we'll see in a little while. So that's Thor. Great figure. A lot of collectors are going to be looking for this guy. Just a massive figure. It's a great addition for your Marvel, your Marvel Now shelf. So there. Okay, now let's go to Hawkeye. This was a figure that a lot of collectors were waiting for. I mean, sorry, I missed out on his articulation. Basically the same. Ball jointed upper torso, ball jointed neck, ball hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, ball hinge elbows, ball hinge wrists to go in and out, ball hinge hips, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, no calf swivel, and simple ankle joint. So on to Hawkeye. Hawkeye which is essentially just the Bucky mold, but everyone was waiting for this one to get released because you gotta have their classic Avengers. I mean, everybody has a classic Avengers shelf on them, and this was really nice. I mean, Hasbro did a good one on this one, and it's come undone. It's recycled bits and pieces here and there, but it's a new waist cape, pauldron accessory. He's got a removable quiver, which is very nice. A modern bow, which I was very surprised. In the comic books, it was a more simple bow, but again, Hasbro just had to recycle pieces. Even the quiver is very modern. They had to recycle the accessories. That's fine. It doesn't really matter. Paint apps on this guy, just phenomenal. I was expecting a lot of errors on this one, but not a lot. You'll have to watch out for his eyes. That's the thing. You'll need to, if you can see it, let me just. Okay, some of the ones I've seen were a little bit more cross-eyed, but the quality issues really are just for the eyes and a little bit of the purple on the flesh. But that's it. Everything else, the buckle, the blues and purples, they're painted on very well. So it's a recycled mold, new modern mold. It's got a ball-jointed neck on a hinge. It's got ab crunch, waist swivel, ball hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, ball hinge wrists that go in and out, ball jointed hips that have the pivot, the pin stuck on vertically, just like Thor. The pin is there. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees, calf swivel, ball hinge ankles with the rocker joint, so you can have him posed in this dynamic pose. So that's very nice. Hawkeye, he's gonna get 10 out of 10 for me. All right, now let's do Daniel Rand, or the Living Weapon, Iron Fist. And again, this is an older mold, an older male figure mold, the Spider-Man mold, but that's fine. What they did with this one is they included Hawkeye gets, I'm getting ahead of myself, gets the torso, the lower and upper torso of the Build-A-Figure. Danny Rand, or Iron Fist, gets the left leg, as well as extra set of hands that you could replace. He's already got a pair on him, and he comes with 3 extra pairs, which I'm going to discuss very, very briefly. He comes with a closed fists, open palm strike hands, or karate chop hands. Yeah, he's got the live long and prosper kind of claw hands, and then he's got the bear claw, tiger claw hands, which are all very nice. I'm glad they did that, because this guy's a martial arts expert. You're gonna need those weapons. You're gonna need these fists, which are his weapons. And again, as I said, it's a great use of a previous mold, a Spider-Man mold, and I'm just really liking it. The Alpha Flight guy, the Guardian mold. So he's got a ball jointed neck on a hinge, ab crunch, a hinge for the pecs that move the shoulders out, ball hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, ball hinge wrists, ball hinge hips that are pegged at an angle, still pegged at an angle. It's an older mold, because it's an older mold. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees, ball hinge ankles with the rocker joints. Paint apps on this guy, absolutely phenomenal. I could not find anything wrong with it, except maybe for the eyes, just a little bit. I don't know if you can get a flashlight just to show you guys. Very hard to see it, but some of this, the silver on his eyes, sort of, they sort of like to bleed into the black of his mask, just by a bit. But even that, it's still pretty okay. I was expecting more of the quality issues on the white, but it's really just white. The white paint has been done very well. I think Hasbro took some, look at that as I was speaking. Just a little bit of an overlap there, but that's still fine. There's no bleeding with the gold, hardly anything wrong with the white paint on this guy. So fantastic job, Hasbro. I'm just been very, very pleased with these figures. So Hawkeye's gonna get a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. This guy, because even if it's an old mold, because it's so well made, it's gonna get a 10 out of, you know what, give it a 10 out of 10. Just an amazing, and the hands, they're really a plus for this one. Okay, next, let's do the Avenging Allies. So you get, these are the variants. What's interesting also about this wave is that you get the variants in the same wave. You don't have to get wave 2 to get the variants, just like the other, it's like the other Marvel Legends series of figures that we got. You get everything, everybody in one wave. So that's great. I think Hasbro, you should keep doing this. Don't screw us up by, you know, keeping the variants up, because I think they've learned their lesson. They keep the variants. They keep the variants on the second wave. Supplier's not going to order, you will never get to see the light of day. So you got Sentry, which is a figure we've all been waiting for, and he gets the arms of King Odin, the basic arms of King Odin. Yeah, I put Machine Man right here. So just a rehashed Hyperion mold, very, very nice. The cape is removable, and as you can see, Hyperion's cape, I think, fit right there on the top hole, and the reason he has a second hole is really for the Sentry mold, to fit his cape on it. Very nice. It hangs wonderfully. Paint apps on this guy, amazing. If at all you're looking through several on the pegs, it's the eyes you got to look out for. But I didn't find anything too much to complain about with this one. Some specks of blue here and there, but the yellow and blue are painted on very well. The belt is painted extremely well. I'm actually loving this figure. I didn't think I'd like it. Sentry is not exactly my favorite villain, hero villain, but the figure is just looking just really, really great and well done right now. Paint apps are great, and the sculpt, look at that Hunter Hearst Helmsley sculpt, head sculpt, Triple H head sculpt. So paint apps are great. Sculpt, it was already a great mold with Hyperion. He's got a ball jointed neck on a hinge, ab crunch, waist swivel, ball hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, ball hinge wrists that go in and out, ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, ball hinge ankles with the rocker joints. The variant comes as Marvel's Machine Man or X-51, the weaponized robot that was brought up as a human, not a more popular character, but he does come first off with the King Thor arms. This is exactly the same as the Odin arm, but this one is different. It's got the artificial arm, armored up arm. I think it's the artificial arm that got cut off. So very, very nice. You can make, once again, as I said, the variants and the variant Build-A-Figure pieces are all in one wave. Fantastic job, Hasbro. And if you've already noticed, I've already replaced one of his hands. He comes with these two open gripped hands, and also a pair of elongated arms. And you know, if you've read up on Machine Man, these arms can stretch up to 100 feet or something like that. What's also interesting about this this appendage is that, as you can see, there are holes right there. That's for the wire, and these are very bendy type of arms, which is nice. You can pose it in dynamic poses. It also comes with ball hinge wrists on the arm. So isn't that wonderful? Well done, Hasbro. Thank you for giving us that. Paint apps on the figure. The purple and metallic teal are just amazing overall. If you have to watch out on anything, it's the head sculpt yet again. Make sure that the purple is squarely painted on with the flesh, and that the red on his eyes are not overlapping his eyebrows or whatnot. But it is a great sculpt. Albeit a recycled male body mold of the Cyclops figure, it's still a great sculpt. I'm a big fan of that sculpt. The head sculpt is great, as well as the accessories. So the figure is going to get a 9 out of 10 for me. Just not because I'm not a big fan of the character, and yeah. So we'll set them aside for a bit right there. And finally, we'll go to the Maidens of Might, which were actually my favorite figures in this entire wave. Let's start with Captain Marvel. This is the modern version of Captain Marvel. And if you want the classic version, there's a Target exclusive 3-pack Marvel Legends that came with Captain America as well as Radioactive Man. I love that the Carol Danvers uniform, but this one is how she looks like right now, and so I'm just really happy to get her in her modern adaptation. Very nice sculpt. It uses the more modern female figure sculpt. It's got this loose waistband on her, and again, as I said, just an amazing sculpt overall. The paint apps on this one, I thought they were going to botch it up, but the star with a yellow black outline with the red, there are some flecks here and there, but overall Hasbro, I think, did a wonderful job with this figure. If you are looking through several figures on the pegs, you got to look at her eyes, make sure they're not as dorpy. There are some eyes that are more farther apart than they should be, so that's what you have to look out for. The lipstick on her, make sure it's painted on squarely. Other than that, there's hardly any paint issues. Surprisingly, hardly any paint issues on this figure. So anyway, let's talk about the accessories that she came with. She came with an alternate head, which is great because in the comic books you can have, she does appear in her helmet. Looks like a Kree soldier. She is Kree. She's half Kree hybrid. But looks like her Kree helmet is on. It looks like a Kree helmet, but it looks great even on helmet mode. You know what? I wish I had two of these so I could display her in both modes, with one unmasked and another one masked. Just an amazing sculpt. Hasbro really outdid themselves with this wave. But I do like her unmasked. I didn't like the comic books at first, or the costume for that matter. I was like, come on, Hasbro, what are you doing? That old costume was just so great. Just put her there. Well balanced. She also comes with this energy thingy, which I'm really not a big fan of. You just stick it up in her fist, and she has an energy fist. So she also comes with the variant Build-A-Figure pieces, the King Thor cape, the King Thor head. As you can see, the left eye is the one that's blind. Odin has the right eye blind, and a battle axe which strongly resembles the axe that Thor now uses when he could not lift Mjolnir anymore, the Jarnbjorn axe. I'm going to start calling this the Jarnbjorn, just because I love the way it looks, and it's so close to the comic books show that Thor is carrying now. It is a little bit small, I have to admit. It should be a little bit bigger, but it is, to me, Jarnbjorn. So we'll build the figures later. And finally, Scarlet Witch, a figure that I've also been looking forward to getting. This is the classic costume of Scarlet Witch. The Unity team, Scarlet Witch, has her wearing, well, still the boots, more leather on her, and instead of a cape she's got a trench coat, which is fine. But this one is your signature red and pink costume. A fantastic head sculpt. Sorry about that, Carol. I'm going to lean you back right here. She's got her trademark Scarlet Witch cape, and she even has these accessories, her hex accessories. When I saw pictures, I was like, how the hell did they attach that to her arms? And as you can see, one of the bubbles, or sort of rings, they fit around her wrists. This one is a little bit more loose because I had pried it out way too much, so it's going to stay like that. But it's a nice touch. It's made of a harder PVC plastic, and I thought it was going to be a soft PVC material, but it's not. So it's a great touch for this figure. The sculpt is the just like Captain Marvel, is the more modern female Marvel Legends sculpt. Paint apps on this figure, good enough. If you're sifting through several on the pegs, you have to check the lipstick if it's on squarely. The eyes should be painted on very well, and that the red on this particular part of her chest is made. It's actually a flesh plastic, and this one is red plastic, and they tried to match the red on the flesh, and it came out a little bit more glossy than this matte finish. So you expect to see a lot of flaking, chipping here and there, and bleeding onto the flesh, as well as on her arms. This is red plastic. They painted her bicep with red to match it. Just overall, that's the only thing you should be looking out for. But even though the ones that had quality issues on them, they were still painted on very well. So I'm really loving this figure. Possibly my favorite, one of my favorite. These two are definitely my favorite in this entire wave, with Sentry and Hawkeye coming in second. So Very, very nice. Articulation for both the Maidens of Might. They got a ball jointed neck on a hinge, ball jointed upper torso, no waist articulation for both. Ball hinge shoulders, no bicep swivel, but ball hinge elbows, ball hinge wrists, go in and out. Ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, ball hinge ankles with rocker joints. She also has rocker joints, that's why I can stand her up like that. So overall, an amazing, amazing wave of new Marvel Legends figures. I'm glad Hasbro for the new year gave us some amazing, amazing figures. Now it's time to build King Odin and King Thor. So first thing you want to do, you're going to go get the torso and try and put the peg in the legs. Just make sure it's correct. Right there. Sorry guys, I don't want to edit. Too lazy to edit the video. I'm going to try and show you how these things are done. So they're on very tight, and again, this is going to be just a regular sized figure. It's not going to be bigger than most. I wished, you know, Hasbro would come up with bigger Build-A-Figures, but anyway, let's start with the thing with Odin, since he's really the regular character. So the Thor arm is exactly the same as the Odin arm, so we're just gonna keep that. We don't have to use Thor's arm, right arm, so we'll use Odin's left arm. And what's nice is you can easily pop it off. There's nothing. It's not like the previous Build-A-Figures that once you pop it in, it's not gonna stay. It's gonna stay there for like forever. Okay, and then Odin's head. This was a great head sculpt. I was actually very pleased with this one. Just make sure you get the one that doesn't have a bent V piece on his neck. So very nice. Okay, put the cape on him. And then his Spear of Destiny, the Odin staff, and maybe if you want, that's the reason I didn't put it there, is so you can put the Odin sword or the Oversword of Asgard on him. So very, very nice. I'm actually very pleased with it. First time to see it all together. Great. 10 out of 10 for me. The articulation is exactly the same as Thor, except he's got rocker ankles. Yeah, that's probably the same. His bicep and the ball hinge elbows are exactly the same as the one that has Thor. Yeah, does he have waist swivel? No, apparently not. Maybe he does. I don't know. Let me know. On mine, it's stuck. He's got a ball joint upper torso. So, yeah. But very, very good. Neatly done, Hasbro. And as for let's get rid of the accessories. Oops, put it here. Let's see what the variant looks like. Take off the head, the cape, and just the arm. Let's replace it with the Thor artificial arm with Asgardian magic and technology. Yarn Bjorn. I'm going to start calling this one Yarn Bjorn Care, even if it's a teeny tiny axe. King Thor's head sculpt right there. You can see left eye blind, right eye blind. And his cape, his red cape, because he was Thor, he always wore a red cape. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Decent enough. I mean, if you're really into this, when Odin dies for the nth time, and you want Thor as the Allfather for Asgard, yeah, it's not so bad. It's gonna get a 9 out of 10 for me. Head sculpt, it's just okay. Yarn Bjorn, could have been bigger, but 9 out of 10 as King Thor. So there you go, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this video review. If you did, please click the thumbs up icon at the bottom. Follow me on Twitter for my toy purchases, Instagram for my toy sightings here in Manila. Check out all my video reviews on this channel, Cheftron. I want to show you again. I'll probably put him back as Odin. I think that's the better sculpt. a sec. Oh, forgot to mention the shoulder pieces are removable. I thought they had that glued in. Okay. So you get a staff and the All-Father, Odin. Just blocking the view of the sun. Okay, Machine Man. Oh man. Okay, so there you go, folks. If you want to get this set, if you're in Manila and you don't want to wait for it on retail, again, head on over to Kramer Toy Warden. They have a website. You can order it there. I think batch 2 is coming sometime later in January, this month, January or early Feb, something like that. There's the next batch. You can pre-order yours if you want. Again, they might have a third batch or something, but they got great figures, not just Marvel, even Star Wars figures. Head on over to Kramer Toy Warden, check out their website, or their store in Green Hills if you live in Manila. So there you go, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this video review. This has been the 2015 Marvel Legends Avengers Infinite series, the King Odin and King Thor Build-A-Figure series of figures featuring Thor, Thor, Maidens of Might, Scarlet Witch, and Captain Marvel. Classic Hawkeye. You got the white costume, Iron Fist, Avenging Allies, Machine Man, and Sentry. Thanks for watching.